South Florida scuba diving, some of the best diving in the world. Beautiful sunsets. Trophy fishing off Palm Beach, Florida. This is Rick Bone with Underwater Explorer. We're going to be doing some of the finest clearwater diving in the world. We're going to be diving with Dixie Divers today in Deerfield Beach, Florida, and that's in the greater Fort Lauderdale area. They've got quite an equipment selection, or rental gear if you didn't bring your own. I'm with Pavon, who's the owner of Dixie Divers in Deerfield Beach, Florida. Pavon, what's so good about the Deerfield Beach area?
Deerfield Beach is a unique small city, and still have that personality that we have a nice fishing area. We got a nice restaurant, and the dive is stupendous because we have a nice wrecks and reefs. We have from hydro-Atlantic 172 feet deep to shallow wrecks of 40 feet, and we have an immense intensity life around these wrecks and reefs.
We're diving off Deerfield Beach, Florida, and we're in about 30 feet of water. The visibility differs. It's usually about 60 to 70 feet. Sometimes it's 80 to 100 feet. Today it was about 30 to 40 feet. And I'm going to show you two different kinds of video shoots. This is without what we call a red filter. And a red filter simply blocks out all the blue that you see right there. These are two butterfly fish that always seem to travel in pairs. And you want to swim perpendicular to the reef so you can see all the small critters. And always check out the holes in the crevices. Well, that's where some of the bigger fish line up. The method of diving in Deerfield, if you're diving a wreck, you have a buoy line that you simply go down and come back up. And then there's also drift diving, similar to Palm Beach diving. And in this particular instances, the divers go out in groups of two with a flag, and the boat simply goes along with each flag, knowing where the divers are at all times. The best thing about Deerfield Beach diving is that all of the dive locations are usually within 10 minutes of the dive shop. You have a very short run. And the reason we're focusing on most of the small stuff is because of the visibility for this particular day. Still, these colors are amazing. You've got quite a variety of diving in Deerfield. You've got quite a bit of ledges. Now, if you'll notice, the picture just changed a little bit, and that's because we put on what's known as a red filter. It blocks out the blue, and you can see it sharpens up the colors. So if you're dealing with either still photography or video in the ocean, you usually want to use a red filter. Makes it a whole lot clearer. This is basically the same area that we did before without the filter. Now we're on top getting ready for our next dive. You know, today we're diving with Dixie Divers in Deerfield Beach, Florida, and it's right in the greater Fort Lauderdale area. So come on down and give them a shot. Now we're going for our second dive of the day, and we've got about 17 teenagers that are just now being certified. They're all going down at the same time, again in about 30 to 35 feet of water. Now the man in the hat is the instructor, and the reason he wears that hat is so nobody can ever mistake him for anybody else. And if they need help or assistance, they just go to the man with the hat. And here again, we're shooting with a red filter that highlights all the colors and gets rid of a lot of the blue. This is an angelfish, a French angelfish. Now all the crew is moving and being certified at the same time. This is their first ocean dive. They're all about 16, 17 years old, just discovering the joys of scuba. The fish schools are really impressive here. And this is again in only about 30 feet of water. When the visibility is like this, a little bit lower than average, all the divers want to group together so as nobody is lost. And that's a statue signifying part of the end of that particular dive. Most of these divers were thrilled to have their first dive behind them, and when they come up, they're all certified. And if you're thinking about diving and you want to be a certified diver, just simply call your local dive shop or the YMCA. And here they are on top celebrating their being certified.
Yeah, this area is known for a lot of sites. If you go further south, you're 35-40 minutes away from the area location dive sites. If you go further north, you're still 35-40 minutes away. In this area, we have 60 different reefs and 70 different wrecks that we can dive on, and they're all 10 minutes away from either inlet that we get to go out of. There's a lot of life in this area. Most people think you got to go to the Bahamas or the Keys to see stuff. They don't realize right here, 10 minutes away, we've got fantastic sites, average visibility being 60 to 80 feet. Sometimes it's up to 100, sometimes it's low, but any given Sunday, we get some really fantastic stuff out here.
This is Rick Bone with Underwater Explorer. We've got some good places left to go. We're going to go to Palm Beach and dive Shark Alley. And then we're going to go to Monterey, California and check out the Monterey Aquarium. Very cold water. We're at Silver Springs, Florida, right in the middle of the state near the town of Ocala. And we're going to follow two spring breakers, two of my favorites, through the flower gardens of Silver Springs. And this is right adjacent to the river. This is a giraffe that is, of course, part of the wildlife of the park. And that particular giraffe was featured on the TV show That's My Baby a year or two back. Well, these are two huge bears that, for the moment, were pretty frisky. I'd hate to be out in the wild having one of those after me. The animals displays at Silver Springs are very nice. And we're coming up on a black bear. And we've got quite a few of these guys in the Great Smoky Mountains National Park, where our filming originates. And you can feed the giraffes. They have a certain type food that you can purchase. And this is going down the river in the glass-bottom boats. The visibility is usually about almost endless in this particular river. And this is one of the rides of Silver Springs. And of course, famous for the alligators. They're all in the river. Now we're going to Palm Beach, Florida, and we're going to do some drift diving. And as you can see, the seas on that particular day were about 3 to 5 feet. We're going to be diving a wreck dive today. As a matter of fact, there are 4 wrecks lined up in a row off Palm Beach, Florida, in about 90 feet of water. And we're inside the wreck and there's virtually no current. But when you get outside of the wreck, the current that day was about 2 knots. Like a pretty fast walk. And most of these wrecks are just full of fish if they've been down at least 2 years or more. And this is part of the coral surrounding the wrecks. And now we're headed off to the second wreck of the day. Usually you don't even have to swim between these wrecks. And this is our dive boat getting ready to pick us up, and the seas are fairly rough. This is the Rutledge Hotel on Palm Beach, which was recently torn down, sorry to say. Make room for those huge condo high-rises. This is one of the best beaches in Florida. It's quite wide, quite well maintained. And on this particular day, the seas were about 3 to 5 feet.
This is Ashley, and we're in Singer Island, Florida. I'm Diane, and you need to come on down.
This is Singer Island, Florida. It's right next door to Palm Beach, Florida. A lot of spring breakers this time of year. And you mainly want to find a hotel right on the beach. That's where all the scenery is. We're going to check out the fish at the end of the day. And here you see quite a few fish wanting to get the bait at the end of the day.
Now this is one of the best beaches in Florida. It's private, as you can see, or semi-private. You have to have a key to get out here. And the lighthouse is right there. And that lighthouse is where they recorded the greatest wind in a hurricane ever in the United States of 155 miles an hour in 1947.
These condos are beautiful in the Deerfield Beach, Pompano Beach area, right next door to each other almost. Those are $1 million condominiums. Greatest thing is the palm trees surrounding them. It's total silence. This is Jenny Springs, and this is almost again right in the middle of the state of Florida. This is probably the clearest water in the world. Visibility is over 300 feet. And this is where tons of divers come to be certified because of the water clarity. The temperature is year-round 72 degrees, which is cool but not unbearable. A lot of people wear wetsuits, but it's not required or needed. And these two are a little bit reluctant because of that cold. The depth there is about 20 feet until you go into the cave system. And the cave system goes down to 55 feet where there's a metal grade that prohibits you from going farther. And that's for your protection because there have been some divers that have died in this particular spring, as in a lot of the Florida springs in the early 60s, before cave diving was even a sport. But this basin is where most of the fish hang out, and they do wait to be fed. He's going down into the cave system. Finally got in. The spring is open pretty well all year except I think for Christmas. And this is very popular with people from the University of Florida. It's close by and they come here to tube during the summer months. This is Rick Bowen with Underwater Explorer. We're going to take a little beach break and let's try to explore the Great Smoky Mountains National Park. We're going on a little river walking trail. This is one of the most beautiful streams in probably the country, and it's right out of Elkmont, Tennessee. The water is crystal clear and quite cold. This is what we call the Rock. A lot of people love to picnic on that during the summer months. And a lot of people just take this for granted, but it's just a beautiful area, just not even an hour and a half out of Knoxville, Tennessee. And the road beside this river used to be an old railroad where they used to harvest the trees in the area. Of course, now it's a national park and totally protected. But if you want to have one of the greatest daytime relaxing adventures, come to this stream bed in the Great Smoky Mountains National Park. That's a little island in the middle of the stream which is known to be flooded sometime when the river floods. They say it sounds like a freight train, huge wall of water coming down after massive rainstorms. We've been on the Little River Trail just out of Elkmont in the Great Smoky Mountains. Now let's get back to doing some diving. This is Pompano, Florida, and it's right next to Deerfield Beach and Lighthouse Point. And this is one of the beachside hotels, which is normally a timeshare but also doubles as a hotel. The garden area is really beautiful with the swimming pools, and again right on the beach. Prices really differ here during the winter months, so the best time as far as scuba diving is concerned is to come during the spring and summer and the first of the fall until about November 1st. We're going to go quickly to the World Gym, and this is in California. That's Dave Draper at age 23, and he was in one of the Muscle Beach Party films in the late 1960s. And there he is again with Sharon Tate. And this was done, I think, in about 1965. And there Dave is today at age 63, quite in remarkable shape. And he's anchoring this seminar concerning bodybuilding. And he's got a friend with him who we'll meet in just a second. There were about 200 people at this convention. And this is Dave. He's getting ready to introduce his friend. And on your left is Bill Pearl. Bill was the Mr. Universe, and he's 75 years old now, still in great shape. You know, Dave Draper looks pretty good for 63 years old. He won the Mr. Universe and he won the Mr. America, and I did not. This is Monterey Bay in California, and we're going to check out the Monterey Aquarium. This coastline is just tremendously scenic. And here we are in the early afternoon going on the 17-mile drive, which is very famous. It's around Pebble Beach, the golf course. This is some of the scenery you're going to see if you play golf on the Pebble Beach Golf Club. Totally calm waters on that particular day. The water temp here is very cold, usually in the 50s on the surface. This is what I want to call seal rock and bird rock. There's just so many tons of animals on this, all either resting or feeding. Now this is the Monterey Aquarium, and we're going to take you underwater for a little view. This particular site at the Monterey Aquarium is about 30 feet deep, and these are some of the shallow water feeders. We're getting a little backscatter. But this water is really very cold. It's in the mid-50s usually, and these fish are, of course, totally suitable to it. And you can spend 3 or 4 or even more hours at the aquarium. It's got quite a few exhibits and quite a few tanks. And there's a shark right in the middle of your screen. And the soft corals are quite impressive and colorful. And this is in the bottom of the aquarium, and another shark.
We're at Louisville Landing Marina. Come down for all your boating needs.
Everything you need, from gas to snacks and beverages.
We also have lakeside dining at Boondocks Grill.
This marina is located about halfway between the city of Knoxville and the dam. It's about 25 miles to each one, quite centrally located. There's Captain Mike and his girls. Marina's open 6 days a week. It is closed on Mondays. And this is Concord Boat Dock. A short ride from there. This is the Concord Marina. This is a brand new restaurant that just came up, one of the finest in the area. And Darby Campbell is one of the owners, is going to tell us a little bit about it.
Hey, this is What we've done here is we built a restaurant, hopefully to service the boating community within a 50-mile radius, mostly Fort Loudon and Tellico. But we found that a lot of people are driving their cars in, a lot more than we ever thought. The car traffic is a lot more significant. The restaurant seats 400. It's got banquet facilities for approximately 100, and it's a first-class, full-service restaurant, steak, seafood, all of it. It sits up on the land overlooking the water. It's at mile marker number 29 on Fort Loudon Lake, and so far it's been a really good success. It's got a full bar, and we would appreciate if y'all patronize us, come see us. We'd love to have your business.
You can be seated either outside, which is tremendous, or inside, which is also tremendous. This is the bar area. And it's almost become a focal point during UT football games in the fall, and then of course boating during the summer. Very roomy area, and this is Concord Boat Dock. It's what the restaurant overlooks. And that marina is quite full. We're going back south now, and we're in the greater Fort Lauderdale area. And this is a friend of mine's house. He's got a little pool in the background. Of course, his dog Skipper, Meriwether, and Tom. And we're going to sample one of the dive sites. And this is in Deerfield Beach in Pompano Beach area. And we're offshore in calm water. We've got quite a good current today. And this is, of course, called drift diving. And the boat simply follows the diver's bubbles on top. And there's also one diver with a dive flag. And we all want to never lose him, because he's the key to coming back up and being found by the boat. This is in about 60 feet of water, and the visibility is quite good today. And we're getting ready to be picked back up and go back down. Notice the current on that particular day. That's a queen angelfish. And these are, of course, two butterfly fish again. And these turtles are quite common. You see them fairly much on about every dive. And this is a French angelfish. And they normally travel in pairs of two. Now he's unlocking his hook because he wants to stay stationary for a little while to observe some of the critters. But when he's done looking, he just unhooks and moves on. These are just some of the critters that you'll see. And we're on top again. And this is one of the beachfront hotels. And this would be in the greater Palm Beach area. Very roomy, family-oriented hotel. Great hotel for divers. Good pool, and some of the agencies certified divers in this pool. And again, it's right on the ocean. That's a little reef in the middle of your screen, which in low tide you can see, and in high tide it covers that reef about 2 feet. This is our second dive for the day, and this is Shark Alley, and that of course is a shark. and we're in about 70 feet of water. Another turtle, and this area was very well known for shark feeding. Well, they stopped the practice of shark feeding about several years ago. They had a few accidents on the surface, but never had an accident underwater. But anyway, the state of Florida said that you cannot feed sharks if they're divers in the water. This is one of the great fishing piers in the area. Well, let's take a little freshwater break. The Clinch River in Norris, Tennessee is probably one of the best places to go during the hot summer months of July and August to cool off and take a raft down the river. Very cold water, but delightful experience. Now this is the water at Full Pool, and this water is extremely cold. It's about 50 degrees. It's coming from beneath Norris Dam, and when two generators are running, it's about 7 feet deep, and it's got quite a current. And if you're on a float and you do happen to fall in, you can see it's crystal clear almost. You'll want to get right back in your craft just as soon as possible. Even with 90-degree heat, that water is pleasant as a cool-off. Plenty of parking along the riverbank. And this is the same water with just one generator running, and that little dam there, of course the water's not running over it, and now the water's about 6 inches to a foot deep.
Hi, this is Rick Bone with Underwater Explorer. We've got some exciting diving for you today. We're diving one of the best areas in the world. We're diving the Palm Beaches. The depths are about 60 to 80 feet. Visibility is about 60 to 80 feet. So let's get wet.
Today we're diving with Sea Pro Scuba Center and Captain Mark Roman. And we're anticipating a great dive because the visibility, as you can see, is perfect. We're on the wreck of the Mist Spa, and the depth is about 90 feet. And these massive fish schools that you're about to see are the result of that wreck being down for almost 20 years. Beautiful queen angel fish. These huge fish schools I saw on my first dive on the wreck about 15 years ago. There's a diver coming out of the wreckage. It is a very safe wreck, in that all the windows and hatches have been removed, and you can thoroughly explore the wreck inside. It's like being in a space odyssey. There's absolutely no sound at all except the clicking of some shrimp nearby, and all you can hear is your air bubbles. As you can see, it's like going through space, especially going through the hatchways there. You and your dive buddy just follow each other in and out of the wreck at will. These fish schools are really awesome because most new wrecks, of course, without any vegetation, coral-wise, there's no fish to populate the wreck. But when a wreck has been down this long, the fish schools are just massive. This is a part of the wreck that broke off on the right side of the wreck. Some of the smaller reef fish are so colorful, the colors automatically just scream at you. They're so proficient. There is a current flowing over the wreck, which means that the dive operators must be very accurate in getting you right on top of the wreck. And it is, again, in 90 feet of water. We've had a great time diving Deerfield Beach and Palm Beach and Pompano. And next time you're down here, give Dixie Divers a call, and they'll meet all your diving needs. This is Rick Bone with Underwater Explorer. I'll see you next time on Underwater Explorer.